How do backlinks work for feed optimization with SEO? That's search engine optimization for those who don't know. So, SEO is search engine optimization, but it's also considered as search everywhere optimization. Welcome, Jane. Good morning. I'm excited to be here with you today because I have been thinking about backlinks. And this is one topic a lot of people have been asking. And I felt like, why not bring this topic today and show you what this means and how do they work? Because everyone says, hey, we need more backlinks. And it's like backlinks sound like backdoor traffic. And that's not true because the way you're supposed to get backlinks is through a very credible way and through a fair play way. And that's what they call white hat SEO. Whatever other people are doing to buy backlinks, to pay for backlinks, that's called black hat SEO, meaning that if you do black hat SEO, in other words, you're not playing fair, you're kind of trying to game the system, then at some point when an algorithm update happens, you are one of the first people that are going to get hit with that. Pretty much I'll call it an effect of, deranking. And that happens a lot. So if you really think about your business and where you want to be tomorrow, you have to start thinking about how do they work for you. And think about backlinks like votes. If I vote for your business and somebody else votes for your business and somebody else votes for your business and you're in the same business line with somebody else, but the other person only has one vote and you have three votes, you're going to have more votes, which means you're the popular winner. You're popular by demand and you won by popularity. So because you have more votes from three other sources, it's like getting a job. If you have one referral and your competitor has five referrals, they have five different perspectives of you compared to one perspective of you. Hi, Jane. Good to have you here. It's been a minute. Hope you're well. So, a lot of us have to really ask ourselves, where are we going in 2025 as far as structure? To do this thing the real way, the hard way, the long way, or the short way? It's really going to be up to you as people come in. Hey, Jane, how are you?
Sweet. I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. Been a minute. How's everything going with you?
All is well. It's been a minute. It's good to hear your voice. I'm listening and taking notes.
Thank you, Jane. Appreciate you. How have you been seeing business with your website lately, especially with the hair and just visibility, in general?
It's been really good. I think the last 2 years has been, I don't know about any other entrepreneurs, but it's been us trying to figure out this new way of business. And I think we all knew it was coming, but just the things that normally would get um, the clicks, because I've been in business for 15 years. So things were just basic before. Now I'm having to, I literally feel like some of the actions that I'm taking now were the actions that I took my first 2 years of business. And I keep hearing other entrepreneurs kind of whisper it. They're not saying it loud enough, in my opinion, maybe not in the rooms I'm in, but I hear them whisper, let's go back to the old days. I'm like, so it's not just me, because as an entrepreneur, you feel this obligation to do well, right? You want to, of course, you want to sell, you want to do well. But when you're struggling at first, you think you're the only one struggling. You're just like, oh, it's only me, nobody else, because I'm doing something wrong. And then you start to listen and do research and go in rooms, right? At least that's what I did. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm not the only one. People are, what used to work doesn't work anymore. You have to do it different, So I have seen I would say the first 2 years of the business changing, in my opinion, were rough because just what's going on? What do I do? How do I do it? When do I, it was just like ridiculous. But now that I'm understanding what exactly is happening, I'm like, oh, it's a change in the climate. Ever since I figured that out, I changed my marketing and I'm still changing it because it works today, may not work tomorrow. So just being open to know that, hey, let's just try how this works. Let's try how that works has kind of put me in a better state of mind. So I don't know if that answers your question, but we're out here hustling and doing it right for the first time, in my opinion.
I love that, Jane. That is 100% boss moves. I'm going to say that again. That's boss moves because, you're giving people a chance to experience you, at first sight, and they're going to stay or go depending on how you treat them the first time they come. So it's a very, very, I'll call it a very delicate, fragile experience, especially customer experience, is huge because if you're going to treat people in a certain way, there's a way they're going to feel and there's a way they're going to respond. So if they respond in a good way, in a positive way, and that energy flows to other people that come in through family, through friends, then that's a positive sentimental value you're adding to your business, which allows more brands to work with you or partner or even consumers to buy from you because now you have a safe place to build. You don't want to build in a place that is, rocky or rigid or, friction full, if I can say it like that, because people want frictionless, seamless, just motion. They just want seamless things to work, operations that are just easy to understand and, just do things easily. It doesn't have to be hard. So I definitely feel what you mean when it comes to that. And it's not easy. It's not easy. And it's something that has to take time. That's why even I'm doing this room because I do research. Every day this week, I'm having rooms at 11 a.m. Central. Today was a little bit over the time because I had a few things to take care of, but I want to make sure I'm here every day. I was here yesterday. We had a room yesterday on Clubhouse in this marketing club, and we're talking about business structuring, for interactive sessions online. We had a very interactive session. Go ahead, Jane.
I'm sorry, that was a mistake. I'm listening. I'm excited about what you're about to say.
Okay. With interactive sessions that we had yesterday, we really went deep into understanding how do you structure your business online because everybody has a website. There are 1.1 billion websites, but out of those 1.1 billion websites in the world, only 16% of them are active. So now take the 16% of the 1.1 billion and then divide that or partition it to your industry. So let's say you're in medical, you're in finance, you're in food, you're in travel, you're in sports, you're in business, you're in creative, you're in name, fill in the blank. When you put your website in that industry, part of that 16%, are you the top 1% of that category value? And then do another 1% of that value to see if your business is the top ranked. So if we're thinking about backlinks, how are we going to get backlinks? Because people say, oh, we want to buy backlinks. I've actually connected with a company. This was back in was this 2019? Yeah, 2019, a company and then Canada. And they wanted backlinks so bad. They were like, yeah, we know SEO, we know what we're doing because they do both English and French and they serve, Canadians. So it's a telecommunication software where you actually, it's like broadband internet. So I was like, okay, you guys are doing well, but you need backlinks because you want your telecommunication system to be higher, but you want to buy backlinks instead of earning backlinks. So that was the kind of argument I was having with them. It was more of a debate. And in the end, I showed them that yes, everybody can buy followers, buy backlinks, but if you buy these things today and tomorrow something changes, don't don't blame me. Don't come to me saying it was you because that's not on me. I told you, I gave information. You can spend the money on whatever, run ads, but at the end of the day, if those backlinks fail, it's not because of me. So I gave him that disclaimer. He was a little bit like on edge, but I told him, hey, I do white hat SEO. In other words, I play fair. Like everybody has a level playing field. If you want to rank, you have to work hard. You don't eat if you don't work. So he said, okay, let's try it out. We tried it out. We started having to write articles in English and French, right? So that's two different audiences completely. So by doing this, oh wow, Instagram just, oh wow, you guys, I just got an update. Hold on. So Instagram just updated the system and the app called Edits is now available for download. I'm just downloading it now. So Instagram have just released something. It's like a checkmate. So just letting you guys know what's going on here. And we're going to come back to this topic. So we wrote articles for him and we said, okay, let's do it in English and French. Let's get the word out there. And he started getting traffic. His Google Search Console started growing. This is broadband internet. This is like a service. This is a software. So it did well. And till today, he's happy. And this is someone that we connected in, is he, yeah, Canada. And then there was somebody else in Morocco. It was a crazy one. I was like, finding connections with people like this is intense. So I told him, let's do this. Let's work on your backlinks. Let's get you earning backlinks. And he was like, how are you going to do this favor? Like he was kind of on edge. I was like, you know what? I'm not going to stress you out. And I'm not here for stress. So if I give you this and it doesn't work, then let's not even move forward. But if this works within the first cycle, then everything you've been saying is all here in evidence. So what did we do? I'm just giving a quick case study. Backlink wise, we decided because they're running ads and it was working, but I said we're going to do it a different way. Because they're running ads to tell people to download this or sign up. It's like a T-Mobile or an AT&T kind of thing, but this is in Canada. So they did a commercial. I told them create a VSL, video sales letter. Just create a video that's going to commercialize your brand. Do it in video mode because they're heavy on animation. So they don't even do like stock images or AI. They're heavy on animation when it comes to internet's connections and everything, home setup. So I told them, do it in English, do it in French, create that atmosphere. Like let people feel you. Like don't just be a brand, just be an experience, be a mood, create a vibe. And they did it. And then what we now did is we stripped the audio from the video because it was a video commercial. And then we now put the audio into the podcast. So anytime before the podcast started, we put the audio snippet. This was a while back because this podcast is going to be 6 years this year. We don't play. So it's episodes like way, way back. So we would put the link to their website in the show notes as an anchored text. Best telecommunication software in Canada. Click here to sign up and get your home set up. And they're listening to the commercial. This is like live radio. This was back in the day. We did it till today. Plus, today, they're still benefiting from these backlinks because we didn't delete it. It was paid for and it's working. Something you paid for 3, 4, 5 years ago, you're still benefiting from today because backlinks are like votes. When you vote for something, you're voting it into office. You're voting it into power. So when you're creating power pages on a website that has blogs, that has links to podcasts, these podcasts that are on Apple, Spotify, people are listening. My podcast right now, We Don't Play, is streamed across 144 countries currently. So when I look at the map and I know that people are listening and you're on the show, you're listening, yes, Austin, vote. When you do that with a Kermit, with a Kermit T, when you do that, you're building connections with people because these same people are going to vote for you when they're looking for things. That's why there are different types of backlinks. And I'm going to tell you about them today because there are toxic backlinks and there are non-toxic backlinks. There are do follow backlinks and there are no follow backlinks. What do they mean? Right? I'll start off with the do and the no. The do follow backlinks means that if, let's say, just like I did with this company, we did a do follow link, meaning that if somebody clicks on my podcast and listens to this episode and clicks on this link and it leads to their website, I have transferred power in form of energy, in form of, I'll call it SEO. And it's like charging a battery and me sharing my battery charge with you. Now you have more power, or it's like a candle. It's like I'm lighting you up too. I'm not losing power. I'm just helping you enhance your power as well. So I'm not losing anything. I don't lose anything by giving you power because I already have the source. So we gave them that opportunity to now have that link. So if someone clicks on that link, the do follow now follows them to that domain. So if Google is looking for votes, my link is going to vote for that domain because on the Google Search Console property, when you have it connected on the bottom left, there's something that says links. In those links, it's going to tell you links and properties outside your website that talks about where you're connected to. So the more property you have in that bank, the more you have. Think about it. It's like saying you have think about two malls. If one mall has 50 brands, another mall has 500 brands, which one do you think is going to have more traffic or votes by popularity? The one with 500. The 450 is still heavy. It could be down the street, it could be your downtown mall. But the one with 500 is where people will fly to, people will drive to, people would walk through because they want to experience that, knowing that, oh, this brand is there, this brand is there. I'm going to spend the whole time. Hey, Prestige, welcome and welcome to Clubhouse. I see you got a party hat. Welcome to Clubhouse as well. So you have to think about these things, right? These are different things. Go to websites, go to, Simon Phipps Plaza, go to all these big stores we have, go to Dubai Mall, go to, Mall of America. Think about the websites they have and the backlinks they have. It doesn't have to be a brick and mortar. You could be online doing the same thing because all of them have domains. Macy's.com, FentyBeauty.com, or whatever, fill in the blank. When you start thinking about the brands and then you associate your website with those brands, you build. So now you're going to wonder, okay, how am I even going to connect with this brand? We don't have a business. We don't have an affiliation. We don't have a partnership. Is it even legal? When you do it online and you say best alternatives to, let's say, let's actually role play. Jane, what would be a great premium hair brand?
The Virgin Hair Fantasy. Mine.
There we
So you mean in my category?
Yeah, in your category, like if you were to compete with someone that is in your market share or within your market
Yeah.
space.
I would say Wabby Hair. She's in Florida. She has great work. Wabby Hair. The girl is killing it. So she definitely will be in my I would say market share. Yes.
So Wabi hair. Well,
Wabby
okay,
Hair.
I'm seeing them. Okay. So they have like luxury. I'm looking at them. So they're focused on European. Okay, so luxury European wigs designed for confidence and beauty. And then they have luxury wigs. They have what else do they have? Um Let me see what else they have. Okay, I'm looking at their shop. There we go. So they have long wigs, short wigs, extensions, and then when I go to wigs, for example, they have different wigs and their prices. Okay, so now with this type of information, where backlinks come into play, we're really doing a role play exercise here. And thanks for that, insight, Jane. I would create backlinks this way. And Yelp is notorious for this. WeddingWire is notorious for this. Best alternatives to Wabi hair or best alternative wigs, premium wigs, to Wabi hair. So whoever is looking at Wabi hair is going to find alternatives to Wabi hair in their search because you've created, I won't call it a backlink, but you've created a doorway, let me say it like that, to this brand. And because you're associating your brand with them, on Google, on Microsoft, on Alexa, on Siri, they are using or pretty much looking at your brand as part of that affiliation. So you're affiliating with this brand because you know that people who shop with these guys will do with this. And it's SEO. And if we really think about it, it's the same thing as people who run ads. Oh, I want to run ads that people that like Tony Robbins. I want to run ads that people that like Target or that like, Trader Joe's. You're looking at the same thing. You're running ads to the same audiences. The only difference is when you're doing it organically, you have to do it with pages. So when you run ads, and let's say somebody is actually doing that, you have more acquisition. I can say you have more equity as a brand because you've already affiliated yourself with a brand because you have a post about the brand. So when you have a post, when you look at these backlinks, right, there are different types of backlinks. This type of backlink specifically would be considered, right? There are different types of backlinks. This would be considered as an editorial backlink because it's an article, it's information, it's a representation. Now, for you to acquire this, it means that a backlink is happening because if, let's say, your brand, Jane, is now talking about that brand, if that brand gets an alert, because they usually do that with companies, Google, people do like Google Alerts. So if you mention their brand and they have their Google Alerts on, they're going to see that you talked about them on their website, on your website. Now you've given them a backlink. That's what happened because you're referencing them. But you're only referencing them if you link to them. If you talk about them but not link to them, you're not linking to them because there's no backlink. So it's kind of like I'll call it like a tactical, like a checkmate. That's some of the things that we'll do as strategies, so that you're talking about the brand in the form of context, but you're not linking to the brand in form of backlinking. So if they get a Google alert, it means that their keyword was picked up, but the link was not picked up. So you can decide either I'm going to partner with them and I'm going to link to them and they'll link back to me, which means we're building a bridge, which means that you get a backlink, I get a backlink because they have traffic and you have traffic. We both have votes. And now both our votes are compounding because we have an affiliated market together. So if they want to shop with you and they shop with us, that's fine. But if we're at competitive markets and we are both at loggerheads, that we can't do that because that's a conflict of interest, then you can now be the person that talks about how you are alternative to them and the better option commercially. And then you can start showing them why. And that's really where the tactics come into play. So there's a lot of moving parts to it, but that's one way you can definitely dive into it. Have you thought about that before, Jane?
My gosh, not in this way. The way you just described it was it's artistic. Like I think it's so beautiful. I didn't think about that. That makes so much sense. And I do understand what you said about giving them a backlink but not linking them per se. So in that way you're not kind of sending your business their way, but you're mentioning them so you can be attached when they get Googled. I think that's brilliant. I never heard of it that way. So I've never done backlinks that way. The way I've been able to do has been, I guess, the baby version of what you've done will be to write an article in regards to something that's trending. So when it gets Googled, my business comes up. But I like the way you just said it's brilliant.
Thank you, Jane. Yeah, and one way you can even level this up is going to do that on Pinterest. So we run accounts and we put about at least 400 pins a month. So imagine we're pretty much creating a cycle of pins connected to pages on your website that talk about a brand that people search on the web. A platform like Pinterest, people don't go search for that. They will search for curly hair. They will search for, luxury hair. They will search for those keywords that are of interest to them. So when they find those pages that are coming from your website that are talking about alternatives to brands they already know, then you're creating an element of surprise. You're allowing them to connect with you. It's like saying, hey, alternatives to Disney, huh? What's alternative to Disney? Then you want to check them out. Are they like them? Coke and Pepsi. What's the difference? So there's always going to be that comparison, right? There's always going to be that yin yang. But if you can create your own flow and then create your own wave, it will help. We did this for a client and they were selling skincare for people who had eczema. And the way we did it was so specific that we focused on one product and talked about it in an article to the point where we actually ranked above Amazon. Like if you search for that, we ranked above Amazon.
Whoa, that's awesome.
Yes. Yeah. It's possible. Like so yes, Amazon is a big website, it's a big company, it's a big corporation, it's a huge deal, right? But you're competing with one page out of a whole website. So it's kind of like it's like a stick fight. you know, if you're pretty much, let's say, let's not even use sticks, let's say a knight fight, right? And you're using swords and you're actually playing and it's an actual game. But it's not a game because it's business, right? But you have to be tactical. How do you move? How do you swing? How do you hit? How do you punch? How do you flow? How do you block? So when you start thinking about these things, you say, okay, this page right here, I'm going to focus on this. right? That's how you're able to build it out. Another client, we did the same thing for him. He's 20 years in business. Right now, he helps business owners that have Airbnb homes take better photos. So if you now search on Google for Airbnb, photography pricing, you're going to see him above Airbnb. He's in the AI overview because he's not running ads. He was tired of running ads. He was like, I'm running ads, I'm spending money, I'm not making any sales. I said, let's turn off these ads, save money so that you can actually earn money. Because now when people come to your site, you know how you go to these like local sites that talk about the news and you see like little pop-ups with advertisements? People are making money from there because you're putting placements for ads to slot into your content. So if you like skincare, you're going to get skincare products. If you like hair, you're going to get hair products. You might ask, oh, wouldn't they be in competition, or why would they be showing up on my website? But guess what? People have the right to choose. So if you give them the chance to choose and you tell them, hey, we're here, but this is what we have and this is what's available and this is what's out there, they will say, let me try this guys out and see, because you're being transparent. You're not trying to force anyone to tell you what to buy. I don't force you to work with us. If you want to work with us, we'll work with you. If you don't want to work with us, that's fine. We're not going to say, hey, work with us today because we're the best. Those things are out the door, because what is in alignment with your vision, your brand, is up to you. We're just here to show you the light, the way. And if you want to follow, great. If you want to listen, great. Because everyone has their own pace. Everyone's going at their own pace. Some people have a business. Some people are starting one. Some people are yet to build one. Some people are scaling. So there are a lot of things to look at. So when I've seen businesses grow, it takes a while. Like this one for Airbnb, it took him 12 months with SEO. Someone may say, I don't have 12 months to wait. But guess what? If you did those 12 months correctly, you could spend 12 years and benefit from those 12 months that you invested. Because SEO is long term. It's long term. The average website has maybe 5 to 10 pages on a whole website, an average page, an average domain. Now imagine if you're Fashion Nova or Forbes or these websites that have thousands of pages, Wikipedia, you're on the top of the mountain. Now imagine if you're talking about topics that you follow or you talk about or you process that come from your channel or from your base. You can get a lot of connections from there, because the topic is, how do backlinks work? Because they have to work for feed optimization, meaning that whatever I'm feeding into the algorithm, whatever I'm feeding into the source file, which could be Google, YouTube, Pinterest, these are search engines. If I'm feeding them with links that have links to my pages talking about brands that I know of, then it helps, because not everybody is talking on Google. I'll be really honest with you. Out of 8.5 billion searches a day that happen on Google alone, out of 46.1 billion searches that happen across the internet, including social media, within that 8.5 billion percent, I'll give you like a 15% average. 15% of 8.5 billion searches a day are new, meaning that they're new searches. People are searching for new ways to do things. People are searching in crazy ways. And if you can handle answers and answer them in a way that is structural, then you're always going to be ahead of the curve. And how do you do this? By focusing on backlinking, right? How do you backlink? You're backlinking by creating organic content. So if we're talking about editorial backlinks, right? And we want people to work with us or we want to connect, we can say, hey, like for you, Jane, if you have products that you must have in your store or must have as part of your business, operations, then you're going to have an article that can talk about those things, because those are brands that people affiliate with. So when they're looking for information like that, you're top of mind, because marketing is 100% top of mind. If I'm trying to look for a specific, hair conditioner, there's a brand I'm going to think about because I've already experienced it. Now, if I have to think about another brand to replace the brand I always think about, then there has to be something that's much more in depth that I need to experience, that has to give me an alternative to choose on a more an executive decision platform than just being saying, oh yeah, I'm just going to switch because I like the color. No, someone's going to like it because there's something maybe one has that the other one doesn't have. Maybe it's 40% less in an ingredient. Maybe it's, shipping. it could be anything. So when you start looking at the intricate details, then it starts to really give insight on how you can actually gain more traffic over time. So when you have editorial backlinks, guest blogging is another thing too. If you have a business profile, that's great, especially if you have a brick and mortar store. Using your Google business profile is great. If you have Bing places, that's great, because when they tell you to add your social links, those social links are going to profiles that are on properties. So if you have a Google business profile and they say, hey, how do you accept payments? PayPal, we accept Apple Pay, Google Pay, Samsung Pay, credit card, debit card, and you have those details there. Someone will see that and feel more comfortable doing business with you than someone that just has a flat face of information, or just maybe a flyer, just like that, because it's not in the system. So when you start creating systematic structures that actually have tactical advantages, then you're going to be a much ahead of the curve, because you're always 10 steps ahead every time you move. If you keep moving 10 steps for every step you make, you'd be 10 times farther than where your competitors are, because of the intricate things that you're dealing with. These days, we focus on zip code marketing. Zip code marketing, even on Pinterest. Pinterest is the only platform I know that you can do zip code advertising and marketing, because you can advertise to about 2,500 zip codes per campaign. So just think about zip codes that you want to connect with and build connections with them. Then you start advertising to them, because you know this zip code, there's a school nearby, there's a hospital nearby, or there's a beauty supply nearby, or there's a grocery nearby, that if they buy those products, it will help. Like yesterday, I was talking about this in the room. Welcome, Shay. Glad to have you here as well. Joy, I see you, Teresa, and Firdaus. Hope I said it correctly. Thanks for being with us here today. I was mentioning this yesterday in the room, because this is a whole, I'll call it like a series, because I'm working on something called cash flow SEO. You're hearing this for the first time, cash flow SEO, because I'm tired of just hearing all this fluff with SEO. It's time to get to the bag. It's time to get to the impact, because when you do this for yourself and you make these little steps, it will help you a lot. So there was a client that I was talking to yesterday, and we were just structuring something out, and we said, okay, you sell these products. And we said, okay, yeah, you sell these products. And I'm just summarizing, because I really went into detail yesterday. And I told her, if we're selling these products, they're your top three products, you know, you're selling to Dubai, you're selling to London, you're selling within the US, that's great. Now we need to switch it, because there's something called pre-purchase and then post-purchase, right? When you purchase something, most times, where do people go to? They go to YouTube. If you buy a car and something happens to your car, you're more likely to go to YouTube or TikTok now if you want to search for something, right? If you want to figure out something, those are the places you naturally go to, because you know that that's where you'll get information. So post purchase means that you need to create an ecosystem that allows someone to feel like, if I was in this person's shoes and I had bought this product, this is how I would feel. Okay, I'm going to buy it. But if I don't tell you how you're going to feel after you're going to buy it, then how are you going to feel if you buy it and you don't get the same experience? That's going to be a lose lose, because now you're angry, someone's, you didn't fulfill it. It's just a mess. So we said, you know what, we've talked about pre-purchase, everybody's excited, it's a great thing to do. I said, you know what, let's be very specific. We now said, and it came to me just in a flash. That's why with me, when I do brainstorming with clients, things come to me. I think, I don't know, it's a gift. It just sparks, and the next minute it's off to the races. And I told her, since you sell clothes, why not talk about how to wash your products when it's ready to be washed? Do they wash with cold water, warm water, hot water? How do they wash their clothes? So if it's black or all whites or colored, how do they do their laundry? How do you care for these clothes? So when they now wash them, when they have them, they can do the right thing. What products do they use? If you have Amazon affiliate links, that's an opportunity for you too. If you're on Pinterest, that's a layup. That's an alley oop. So I gave her this idea. She's like, oh, I didn't think about that. Now that's going to be implemented. So you get more sales, your conversion lift increases because your average order value also increases because you have an average life customer value. So when you think about the lifetime value of a customer and you're thinking about backlinks, you're thinking about what articles am I writing that when I show up on social media, I'm the person that they're actually looking at or looking for. So when they actually purchase these products, now they feel connected to this individual products. So it's not just I have a product or I have this or I have that. What are you using it for? And how are you using it to optimize for feeds? Another way of doing this is if you have tools, free tools. If you like tools, calculators, anything of that sort, you can do that. And then let people know, hey, I have these tools. I want you to use these tools to do A, B, C, D. It helps. I did an article on AI video generators to use in 2025. I'll put the link in the chat so you can read it. The best AI video generators to use in 2025. I wrote that article, when was that? February 11th. Yeah. And it's still getting traffic till this day because people want to know these things. I put the link in the chat if you want to read that. And I put how many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Yeah, 11 websites. So these are tools that people don't know about. Yeah, you know Sora, you know some of them, but the more you know, the more you don't know. So you have to look at business in a different way 2025 because you're paying for your domain, you're paying for your hosting, you're paying for subscriptions, you're paying for things. You have overhead costs. How do you control these costs or how do you decrease your costs per quarter, per year? If you don't have websites that actually have backlink ability. Because when you have a higher backlink, which is one of the top most crucial factors for ranking online in today's world, there are a lot of ranking factors, but backlinks, that one is like the meat and potatoes. There are other factors, but backlinks is definitely one of the top. Because if you don't have backlinks, you don't have votes. If I don't vote for you, you can't be in office. If I can't vote for you, then there's no opportunity for you to show what you can do. So when your website doesn't have votes from people who can vouch for you, that link to you, you can link to yourself because you have a podcast and you can start backlinking to yourself, right? Because you have an article talking about this. So on your Google Search Console to show, and these are you can self-create backlinks, right? Because you're creating tools, you're creating topics, you're creating context, you're looking at brands, you're expressing those things. And if you do them, it will help you get more. So don't pay for backlinks. When you pay for backlinks, it's not a that's just a that's a down road you don't want to be on. And I'm not going to be there because I've already given you a warning sign before you showed up. So when you look at these things long term as a business and you have a business, check your backlink score. There's a way you can check. There's a free checker, actually, and I'm going to give this to you today. It's from Ahrefs. You can check this out. You know, it's a way you can be able to really check. It's a free backlinks checker. I'm putting the link in the chat because I really want to help you understand these concepts because I'm done with the fluff I hear out there and I want to really be very specific. I put the link in the chat. That's a backlink checker. So use that link, put your website there. Just it's free. Put your website there and just see what you get. If you get your score and you see what you get, then you'll know that you have work to do. Like for me, if I look at it right now, my link that you see at the top of this room has a domain rating of 43, which is high because the average rating, it's what is a domain? It's the strength of your target's backlink profile. So think about your credit, like your backlink profile, like your credit history or your credit report or your credit background, right? So if you have a higher credit score, it's better because this score is from 0 to 100. So let's say you're in from 500, 600, 700, 800. That's good, right? But if you're in 300, it's not so good, right? So when you look at the scores, when you look at your FICO scores, you start seeing like, okay, here are the numbers, then it tells you what to do. So when you now hit 30, 30 is like average heavy because everyone starts from 0. And think about it like your credit, because how you even determine your backlink profile is determined based on the age of your domain. There's a website I talked about, I think last week or the week, 2 weeks ago. It's called Digger Tools, Diggr dot tools, Digger Tools. It will tell you when your domain was registered. It's public information. Like I even checked TikTok. For those who don't know, I think TikTok was just here the other day. I joined TikTok when it was called Musically, and that was in 2016. But TikTok.com was first registered in 1996. For those who didn't know that, you can check that on Digger Tools. So it's there for you. Check your own website, you'll see it there. So when you look at your results, those codes you've installed, if you've been in business since 1996 and it's 2025, and you've been writing articles since then, of course, you have a credit history that is definitely, yeah, you can compete. You have leverage if you've been using it, right? Now, when that domain authority is high, it tells you that you have leverage, right? Now, my backlinks, I remember I talked about a do follow and a no follow. My backlinks, I have 4.3K backlinks. That means the total number of links from other websites pointing to your target, meaning that I have 4.3K votes. You know how you can say you have 2,000 followers, 5,000 followers? Think of backlinks like your followers, right? I think that would make so much sense. I think it's making sense. Use your backlink profile like the number of followers. This is the first time I'm saying this. That's here on Clubhouse, no script. I just come here, say what comes to mind, and I move. Think of it like a follower chart. If you have one backlink, it means you have one follower. It means you have one person voting for you. It means that one person can say, yes, this person makes sense. This person is credible. But when you have 4,000 people, 10,000 people saying this is the same thing, that means you have 10,000 opportunities to get 10,000 opportunities. If that makes sense, you have a wider range to compound because you have a much larger addressable market as opposed to just having this tiny little section here. So you build them over time. Thank you, Fidelis, for that thumbs up. So you think about that and you ask yourself, okay, 4.3K backlinks, 64% of them are do follow, meaning that 64% of the 4.3K links, right? Let's do the math. We're kind of doing a little math to this. So 64% of 4.3K, 4,300 is 2.75. So 2,752 links are voting for my website. This website you see at the link at the top. Out of those, they're links. They're not websites, they're links. There's a difference between a link and a website. A website is an entity. A link is, I can have 10,000 links on one website. So websites are individual, they're units. So out of these links, it tells me that my linking websites, which means the total number of unique domains, because it's unique because it's one. Like, for example, right now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're 7 of us in this room, right? Thank you, Jen. I appreciate you. There's 7 of us in this room, which means and now more has jumped in. So 8. Let's say we got 8 backlinks now. We just had 7 a few seconds ago. We've just lost it. He's left. So now we're back to 7. That's how it goes. It's never a steady curve. It's like the stock market. It always goes up, down, up, down. So you never say, oh, I have 2,000 backlinks and you just sit back. No, you have to keep going because if these posts start getting to, it's something called content decay. If they start decaying because after 3 months, 6 months, you start losing elasticity, then you start losing power. When you start losing power, you start losing ranking because other domains that are fresher, that are recent, are talking about the same thing you talked about a while ago. Like, for example, there's a client that we worked with in 2020. I love waist beads. That's something just unrelated, but I'm letting you know. She has a great product, right, about waist beads. And she was like, Favor, it's called Modern Nature. She's like, Favor, how do I get my business out there? This was back in 2019, before the pandemic. And I said, hey, first of all, you need to connect your website to the console. You sell beads and you want to sell these waist beads to people who are in fashion, right? So what did we do? I'll tell you what happened. This thing is amazing. We wrote one article about how to tie waist beads because people had a problem on how to tie waist beads. We didn't know what to talk about. I said, hey, let's connect your Google Search Console. Boom. When we connected it, people started saying waist beads, a waist beads, spiritual, like history of waist beads. So we said, okay, let's talk about how to tie them, because some people like to make them, some people like to buy them. And if you're buying them, some people like quality. So they're different prices. You can buy one for $2, for $20, or for $2,000, depending on the quality that you're looking for, right? So we wrote that. And that one article allowed her to stretch for a year to about 1 million impressions, to the point where she got picked up. And now she's doing every year in February, she's doing the New York Fashion Week. And when she really went crazy was when she ended up on the Vogue magazine when Rihanna and A$AP Rocky first talked about their baby. The very first time, she had a full cover. If you guys go back in time, check the magazine, it's out there. She ended up on the cover. She had a full page cover for her brand. And now she's doing big things out there, right? So because we said, hey, let's connect this here, let's do this here. So New York Fashion Week will be tagging her. You have a fashion show, they take a picture, the photographer puts the credits, they credit the beads is on her. It's a do follow backlink that now increases her power. So she's built that power so much up there that she now has domain equity. She can say, hey, I'll charge this for that, because of all those things that are really going to connect with her long term. So when you think about your business, I'm just giving you guys very random examples, but when you think about your business and what that's going to get you to, then it also allows you to feel more comfortable and also raise the bar. So I'm happy that we're talking about this so that you can learn something. And I want you to really, really gain insights from there. So I appreciate you for being here, Jane, and also Hidden. I was coming to you, Teresa, but when you come back, we'll definitely get to you because I would love to hear a question. Jane, anything you'd like to say? Then we go to Hidden, then we come to you, Teresa.
No, I just want to say you're amazing at what you do, and you're making it digestible. Because a lot of times when I'm in certain rooms with a lot of the big words, and it doesn't seem practical to me, I don't connect with it. So I always love when you teach because it's digestible and I can go implement it. So thank you so much for this.
You are welcome. Appreciate you for that, Jane. Hidden, what's going on? I saw you have a question. I would love to hear your question, feedback, anything you'd like to say before I respond.
What's going on, my friend?
Was good.
Can you
Was
hear me?
goody.
Man, navigating these crazy waters. You know, the Google dance. Google been dancing this year a lot. So, but the things you're saying about the backlinks is the key is getting relevant links. So that's why I put that question about do follow and no follow links and when the best time to use it. 'Cause I'm not really good with those links. So I'm kind of mad I missed the first part, but hopefully you recorded it. I can go back and listen to it. It's one of the things I like to learn about linking better. You know, interlinking and those aspects because it goes with what topical authority and things of that nature. And now Google is very big on branding. There's not so much keywords, and it is, but they big on branding now.
That is true. And I'm glad I'm bringing this topic up because I haven't really talked about backlinks at this capacity. But I feel like when I really express it in this full form, it's easier for someone to digest. And I really appreciate you, even Jane, saying that it's easy to digest because SEO can be very technical. And when people hear it, one, they think it's expensive. Two, they think it's unnecessary. Three, they think it's too much. Like, do I really, 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 really need this? Like, it starts to get more of doubts than action because it's already been oversaturated with so much information that you don't even know where to start. It's like going into a maze. Where do you walk through? Where do you go to? Do you walk left, right, stand up, look down? What do you do? So I like to make it very easy and I'd like to really take it into that very easy sequence. So, when I think about SEO long term, it's really how your business can really take that next step. Like, how do you really want to do this? And if you really want to learn SEO, I've made life easy. I've really made life easy. And I do have a course that you can get. There are two options. You can either get it for $25 and have access to it. The link is at the top. Get to know about SEO, get into the course, learn it in 3 hours, really get the basics, everything I'm talking about. You can literally do it on your own after getting this, or you can go through the training and we can do it together for, a 4 month period. If you want, I mean, not a 4 month, a 4 week period, because within the 4 week period, you have 4 weeks that allows you to have a long-term plan. And that's pretty much, if it's 3 hours for the course in total, you get 4 hours plus the 3 hours. So that's 7 hours. So those 7 hours allow you to be very concentrated on, customizing to your needs. So you already have 3 hours of the basic, but you have 4 hours of the advanced, which is pretty much advanced for or catered or customized to your fit for $9.99, and the value is $29.99. So if you think about your business right now, long term, and you want to have backlinks that work for your business, there are things you have to first operate and start with. When you first operate and start with a business that has a good website, that has a good backing, then you're able to know, okay, this is when I'm able to do a do follow or non follow. Like you asked this question, Hidden. What about no follow and do follow links? And when is the best time to use them? This is what I would say. The best time to use them is when one, let me say it this way. I want to give you a tactical flow. All right, I got one. This is what you can do. If you do a do follow, let's say you talk about the top 10 tools to use, right? You can do this sparingly if you want to, but there's so many tactics. So test it out. This may not work for everybody. Disclaimer, but if it works for you, great. If it doesn't, then try something else. But it's always going to work for the right audience. If you talk about, let's say, the top 10 brands that, let's say, skincare, the top 10 skincare products to use in 2025 for let's say dark skin, right? I'm going to list all the products, all the different stores, all the different listings, right? Now, out of those 10, 5 of them are do follow, 5 of them are non follow or no follow. Why? The ones that are do follow are the ones that my business wants to resonate with. Meaning that if somebody's looking for this brand, I should be part of that market share. I should be part of that, connection. Maybe they stand for something, or they have some type of thing where, for every dollar that they get, for every sale, a dollar is, donated to charity, or something happens where they have that sustainability practice as a business model. You want to affiliate with that, then you can have a do follow. A no follow would be you just want to talk about them, but you don't want to reference them, or you don't want to add or credit them. You want to, let me say it this way, you want to credit them, but you don't want to accredit them, if that makes sense. So you want to give them their flowers, but you don't want to be affiliated with them in a way that is affiliated with your business. But it's mentioned, but it's not linked. So that's how you're able to cut the tie between the two and then see which one is for you. Are you trying to do it this way or trying to do it that way? What's the right way, and how is that going to process? So when you do it that way consistently, you get a much better feedback loop, because now you're able to see what's trafficking to your website positively and what you don't even want at all to show up on your dashboard. So when you do those things, what happens is the do follow links get alerts. Excuse me. And the no follow links don't get alerts, because there's a no follow, there's no juice, there's no fluid, there's no flow. It's status quo. It's stuck. It's in static mode. So if it stays there, then that's a good thing, because that means if you don't want that, then you don't want that. You have the right to choose. But if you want that, then you can say, hey, here you go. Here's a piece of what I have. And then that way they now connect back to you. When you start doing that, eventually I usually see between 1 to 4 months. Within that period of time, you might start getting emails from people that say, hey, I saw you linked to our website. Thank you so much. Would you like to do this? It's happened to me where I would link a website back in 2021, and in 2023, they're saying, hey, we've updated our system. Would you like to click this link and change it on your system? Because they know the value of the link that they're giving. So you're powering them. You're empowering them too. So however you want to do it, it's really important to look at it that way. And Hidden says, so that's why you want to links from someone with a high DA. Yeah. If Forbes links to you, for example, and they put your website link, that's a huge backlink profile. It means that Forbes has voted for you with their power. Think about it. Everyone has power. This one has, you know, this kilowatts. This one has another kilowatts. You just think about those numbers, right? If you now think about the ones that have a higher power range, or power rangers, if I say it like that, at the point that has the highest domain is where you're able to get the most response. If I have power and this power is like phantom power, then I have a lot of power, like a microphone, to really use a microphone and talk on the microphone. But if I don't have phantom power, there's power, but it's like a cub and a lion, right? So when you think about the graphic I'm giving you right now, when you think about that visual and you have a Forbes, which is like the lion, and anytime it roars, you can hear it because there's power in the voice, there's power in the brand, right? And then someone else just they're just raw and it's not like the same thing. You might get that effect, but it's not going to be as effective as the one that you have. So how to use this is very, very important. And when you have more high DAs, let's say you have 5 high DAs that are linking to you and 10 low DAs. DA just stands for domain authority, right? And anywhere between 50 and up is a high DA. I would say anywhere between 30 and up is a high DA. Mid range is 30 to 50. I would say 50 and up because let's say if you're in the 90 and above, that's like Facebook, Google, Amazon, LinkedIn, Pinterest. They're all in the 90s, right? Because they've been there for a long time. Walmart.com, all of them, they're all in the 90s because they're all up there. Think about like a credit score because you have so much content, leverage, brand equity links that you've been building so for long that imagine if you did one link every week of a year, which is 52 weeks in a year, 52 times, let's say 10 years in business. That's 520 links, right? And you have other links that are on the website. There are 1.1 billion websites and there's 16% that are active. So if there's 16% that are active and 2% linked to you, that's a huge win. So when you start doing the math and start breaking it down like that, it's easier for you to know what the pathway looks like. So don't think about backlinks and think, oh, what do I do? The goal is use your website, create content. If you have a podcast, even better. Be as a guest on a show if you don't have a podcast, or start one, and I can help you start one if you need one. Get on a call with me. Let's talk about it above, and get started by building traffic because I would never waste your time telling you to post here, post here, post here. Gone are those days. I'd rather tell you to post once a week on a platform like your website and then repost or republish the same post on other social media platforms. Think about it like a tour. Think about your social media like a tour. You're on tour, you're going to Facebook today, you're going to LinkedIn tomorrow, you're going to Twitter or X the next day, you're going to TikTok the next day. And those days you're talking about the same thing. It's like a tour. When artists are on a tour right now, like Kendrick is on tour with SZA, right? They're going to perform, but they're going to perform in different cities, different states with the same set, but it's going to have a different context because they're going to be, hey, what's up, Chicago? What's up, Texas? What's up, LA? What's up? Like you start thinking about where they are because they're in context and referring to those places, right? Because they're voting for those places. Those people are voting for them. That's why they're showing up to those concerts. So you're saying the same thing on Facebook, saying the same thing on X, saying the same thing on LinkedIn, and because they're all hanging out on different spots, and then in a week, everybody's coming to your website because that's where we're going to the concert for. But they found out because they were hanging out on a platform that they're used to. So when you think about backlinks like that, everything changes. So I hope you learned something new. I don't want to get this over your head because it can get really complicated, but I really want you to really understand it. So before we go,
That made
Hidden,
me,
what would you like to say? Go ahead.
that made me have another question. So, when do you decide to diversify? The, when you start to diversify the what you call it? The, so I understand the part where you said like you stack the what you call it? The specs. You stack the like the same thing. That's gonna kind of build the you know it's gonna build the like it gains momentum when you You know, like you said, you put it here, 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 here. It gains momentum that way. But you know what? How do you? If you're not tracking, you can't tell. You can't really tell when it's fatigue. When that's starting to fatigue, and you start need to diversify your content. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. There's something called content popularity and
Huh?
content decay. So if I know that my content is decaying, and that means I'm losing power rankings, and that's when I'm going to optimize it, because maybe I wrote this article a year ago, and now there are a million new blogs about the same thing. So there has to be a way you can balance them out. But how to do that? It has to be something that has to be done in practice mode,
Right.
because I can't
You got
really
to be
sit.
tracked, right?
You know what I mean? Yeah, you have to track it. Yeah, that's how it goes. That's how it goes.
Yeah,
I know
because
it's a lot.
it's just because you know, a lot of times it's just you know, a lot of times people. What I see is a lot of people will go back to the same thing. They'll start posting the same thing like a couple months later, but it's like it's part of a like cycle. So it's like they regurgitate the same thing they was doing a few months ago. So it's like they just start the process over. The same the same content and it's in a sequence and then they just start it over. But you know, as they say, find out what's working and do more.
Oh, you're breaking.
Update the content or to boost it, but you just like kind of add to it or whatever it is.
Yeah, you just have to add to it and get more context out of it. So that's how it goes. That's definitely how it goes, man. And I know there's really much more into it, but I just want to make sure that this is understood and people can flow with it. Try it out. And then, that's just definitely how we have to do it. So I really appreciate you all for being here, and I hope you have a great day. And just listen to this, rewind, take notes, check out the description notes, and read. Because when you listen, that's only 5% acquisition of learning. But when you read and write, then you're able to teach somebody else. That way, you can really take that to the next level. So yeah, we'll be here again tomorrow. Definitely excited about the daily rooms we're gonna have tomorrow, and we're going to talk about audio advertising versus video advertising. So RSVP, join the marketing club at the very top, and we'll make sure that happens at the same time. So I'm super excited for that. I got a lot of meetings to catch on. So I said, let me jump in here, make sure I can talk to y'all real quick and listen in. How do you want to say something before we go?
No, I just I was gonna say we still haven't jumped on the call. We haven't caught up, so
We need to.
yeah,
We need
yeah,
to.
definitely.
For sure. Now, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. Thank you as well, Miss D or D Miss. Thanks for being here as well. For Deus, thank you for being here as well. Appreciate you. Have a blessed day. I'm going to see you guys. If you guys like tacos, happy Taco Tuesday. And I'm going to see you guys in the clubhouse streets.